your back hurts, your knees click, your shoulders are tight, you wake up stiff and you go to bed sore. You've been lifting for years and your body is breaking down faster than it's building. And you blame your age, you blame your job, you blame the fact that you don't have time to recover the way you used to. You tell yourself this is just what 30 plus looks like. It's not. The problem isn't your age, it's the method you've been using to train for the last 15 years. It was never built for a man that is living past 30. It was built for a 22-year-old genetic outlier on enhanced hormone profiles, training 6 hours a day with nothing else going on. And it's been sold to every guy with a desk job as the default way to train in the weight room. And that method is bodybuilding. And I'm going to show you why it's wrecking your body, what the actual research says about it, and what you should be doing instead. And before we get into it, I want to be super, super clear. I am not saying concentric training is bad. Lifting heavy is a non-negotiable part of getting strong. You need mechanical tension to build muscle. The bodybuilders of the 70s, 80s, and 90s built the foundation of everything that we know about hypertrophy. Arnold, Lee Haney, Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman, these guys made bodies and had a knowledge base that is really impressive and historically really important. So got to give credit where credit's due. What I'm saying is that the way bodybuilding training is structured, concentric dominant, high volume, high frequency, with almost no attention to eccentrics, isometrics, plyometrics, or proper recovery, is the worst possible match for a man that's in his late 20s or getting into his 30s with a career, a wife, and a body that doesn't recover the way that it used to. It's a great method for the wrong audience. So by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why bodybuilding wrecks men past 30, what the actual research says about joint loading and injury rates, what the strongest men in history actually trained that bodybuilding ignores, and the 4-tool training method that gives you the muscle without the breakdown. My name is Nolan Olm. I'm a former D1 football captain and pro football player and the founder of Make It Happen Coaching. I've coached over 100 men through this exact transition, and I train at the highest level of athletic performance, without doing a single bodybuilding filled style workout. This is not an anti-muscle video. This is a truth video and the answer to maybe one of the biggest problems that you've been running into. So let me start by being fair. Like I said, bodybuilding gave us almost everything that we know about hypertrophy. If you don't know what hypertrophy is, that's basically creating micro tears in your muscles to allow for muscle growth. It's the principle of progressive overload. And this was refined in bodybuilding gyms, which is phenomenal. It's a foundational principle of everything we do at Make It Happen Coaching, and you need to have that. The understanding of training volume, frequency, exercise selection, volume for specific types of or specific muscle groups, intensity techniques, drop sets, supersets, rest, pause. All of this came out of the bodybuilding world. So when we talk about Mike Mentzer, like I said, Arnold, Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman, these are the guys that pushed the human body to extremes and documented what was possible. And so it's really important. But here's what nobody talks about when they sell you bodybuilding style training. And look at where most of these guys end up. Ronnie Coleman had over a dozen back surgeries. Now, I know that was a lot of, he did more than any of those other guys did, but he walks with crutches, right? And he said that if he could do it over again, he wouldn't have lifted as heavy. Flex Wheeler had a kidney removed, leg amputated. Lee Priest has spoken about chronic joint pain. Dorian Yates retired early because his body just couldn't take it anymore. Tom Platz, who's famous for the heaviest squat training in bodybuilding history, has discussed his joint and back issues for years. And on top of that, how many of these guys can go do things that are functional? If we look at C-Bum, who is the GOAT, incredible, Mr. Olympia, however many times he won it, you watch a video of him sprint and he pulls 2 hamstrings right away. So as much as it looks awesome, it's not functional for daily life. And these are the guys that are at the top of the sport, right? The genetic elites. They're on every supplement, peptide, pharmaceutical advantage. They work their tails off. They have full-time coaches, nutritionists, recovery staff, and these guys still broke their body down. So if the method breaks the genetic elites on the best possible support, what do you think it's going to do to the 30-year-old that's at LA Fitness eating Chipotle 4 times a week and sleeping 6 hours a night? Bodybuilding is an extreme sport. It produces extreme physiques, but that all comes with an extreme cost. And when the average professional, busy man imports that method into his own life without the genetics, without the chemistry, without the recovery infrastructure, you're going to get all the joint damage with none of the upside, all the inflammation with none of the upside. When was the last time your training actually made you feel younger? Not just pumped up, not just exhausted, but younger, right? More mobile, more capable of doing things in life. For most men, running a bodybuilding style program, it's been years for you, because the method itself is aging you faster than time actually is. So let me show you specifically what's happening to your body. And really there's 4 mechanisms at play. I've had them up here this whole time. So the first one is concentric overload. When we talk about concentric, that is the pushing, the contracting part of your lift. So eccentric would be traditionally like a lowering. Your concentric is boom, we're pushing, whether that's pushing to the ground in a squat, pushing up in a bench. And then isometric, you can either do at the top of, or a top of movement, depending on what it is, right? Like if really a high plank is an isometric, or you could do an exercise like that, a low push-up hold, or bench, right? Like you're not really gonna have much tension at the top, but at the bottom, right? That's where there's an isometric at the top and bottom of the rep. So, listen, this is the issue, is people, all they know is concentric training. And then everybody thinks that eccentric and isometric are BS. Bodybuilding is mostly concentric focus, right? They're all focused on the contraction of the muscle, right? You lift the way up and then you lower it to transition to the next rep. There's no focus on the eccentric, which is the lowering. It's not treated as training, but it's treated as just rest between reps. And then the isometric, a lot of times there's nothing at all. And so here's the problem. Tendons and ligaments and connective tissue adapt primarily to eccentric and isometric loading, not concentric. So there's a body of research from sports medicine, as you guys can see here, brought it up from 2015, and it showed that isometric and eccentric loading produce significantly greater tendon stiffness and collagen synthesis than concentric loading alone. Collagen is really important. That's going to, the amount of collagen and the quality of collagen in your tendons, that's going to determine the amount of pain that you have when you're doing lifts and stuff. Now, here's the issue, guys. Okay, yes, isometrics aren't going to produce the hypertrophy and the strength gains that concentric is. But if you feel better and you can do both, you can lift more concentrically and you can lift longer concentrically. So it's almost like you need to do these things in order to get the most out of concentric. I hope that makes sense. But if you just do concentric, you're not creating that tendon stiffness and the collagen synthesis. So this was a study, right, that this demonstrated in 2015, sports medicine, that high load isometric protocols drove the strongest tendon adaptation of any method tested. So when you only train concentric, your muscles are getting stronger, but your tendons aren't, and they can't keep up. This is how you end up with those, those snaps, those tears, their grinds, the bicep tears, the pec tears, the patellar tendonitis, tendinopathy, rotator cuff issues. These aren't random. They're predictable results of concentric only training, right? In a body that needs isometric, eccentric to support what the muscle is demanding. The second one is high volume loading. So typical bodybuilding splits are ridiculous. Like they have you 8 to 12 sets exercise per session, 3 to 5 sets each, 8 to 12 reps per set. So that's really, if you do the math, it's like 240 to 600 hard reps per session. 3 to 5 sessions a week, you're looking at somewhere between 700 to 3,000 reps weekly. And so the research on overuse injuries, this is from Wormbaum, published in Sports Medicine. It's shown a clear dose to response relationship. Now, this is obvious, right? And this is where we implement deload weeks. You have to implement deload weeks to allow the system to recover and to adapt from the load that you're giving it, right? If you don't allow for that, you're just giving stress to your body, and you can't allow your body to super compensate and adjust to all these things you're giving to it, right? This is not It's just basics, right? Like obviously in your 20s, your body can clear this volume pretty easily. In your early 20s, your recovery capacity is high. You can get away with all this stuff. But in your 30s, with the stress that's been put onto you, you're already doing so much concentrics. You're so inflamed. You don't have the greatest sleep. And then you're trying to do the same volume. And then every session is just going to add to that load. So then you walk around in low-grade inflammation. And this is stiff joints, brain fog, declining mood, and a body composition that's not going to change no matter how hard you train. The third mechanism is the absence of plyometric and ballistic loading. So plyometrics, this is an overlooked one. People think that if I'm not playing sports, I don't need to do them. But jumping, landing, sprinting, throwing, it trains your body to absorb force, redirect it, and then be able to also produce it explosively. It's what keeps your nervous system fast. Also keeps your tendons resilient and tissues elastic. So bodybuilding training has none of this. It's slow. It's under constant tension. Your nervous system stops producing rapid force. And so your tendons lose their springiness and you become rigid. So you can't go and just play a pickup game of basketball without feeling like crap. If you don't use it, you lose it. Now the dose to maintain is so minimal, but the biggest thing is doing it. Research on aging and athletic function consistently shows that explosive power declines faster than maximum strength as age. So a man who lifts but never trains explosively becomes a lot stronger on paper, but you're actually more fragile in real life. Plyometric work is what keeps you athletic, not just muscle. You don't want to be like C-Bum and go out and pull your 2 hamstrings. Now that he's not bodybuilding on the highest level, the best in the world, he's doing all these different things like plyos and moving his body because bodybuilding ignores this completely. The fourth one is metabolic stress without metabolic benefits. So this is for some situations, not all, but the classic bodybuilding pump. High reps, moderate weight, chasing the burn. This is something called sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. So the muscle cell fills with fluid and it looks bigger temporarily with the pump, but 30 minutes after the gym, it's gone. What it doesn't build is myofibrillar hypertrophy. So this is what we're looking to build is the dense, hard, contractile tissue that makes you actually stronger and gives you a more carved aesthetic that holds all day. And once again, the research from hypertrophy research between these 2 hypertrophy types shows that the myofibrillar hypertrophy, the second one that I talked about that we want to build, it produces a denser, harder muscle that translates to real strength. So that's really what it's all about. And here's the contrarian truth. The method that built every body that you see on Instagram is also the method that's breaking down every man past 30 who tries to follow it. The cost is hidden, and because it just starts to show up really slowly. And by the time you feel it in your back at 35, the damage is already being done at 28. So there is a better way, guys. There is a better way. And this is something that I've learned in the past couple of years because I've been there. I had a strength coach that came when I was at Eastern Washington, and we just did a ton of strength and West Side barbell type stuff. And it was awesome because I got strong and I got yoked. I was 204, 3.3% body fat, shredded, big muscles, looking good, feeling good. Except I wasn't feeling good. I was so tight, I couldn't run. My body just felt beat up. My joints were destroyed. And it really hurt me that year. And so here's the 4-tool training method, right? Like each tool is going to build something that the others can't. That's what I'm saying. Concentric is not bad. The issue is when you only do concentric lifting. So the first tool is that concentric training. We do this. Yes, we still want to lift heavy. And usually, a lot of times, though, it's after a base of isometrics. We still build maximum strength. We chase progressive overload, but we do it inside structured training cycles with appropriate volume, with real recovery, with deload weeks. And the other 3 tools layered in. Concentric work is our engine. It is. It's just not the whole car. It's not the whole car. The second tool that we use is eccentric loading. So eccentric is that slow, controlled lowering phase on every major lift. So we do tempo work. We'll do different sort of holds. This is what builds tendon strength and joint integrity. The men who include the eccentric work consistently have bulletproof joints into their 40s and 50s. And you can see a lot of people in bodybuilding will do some eccentric training in what they're doing. Sometimes it's even, you don't even know you're doing it, right? But this is, the big one is this third one. This third one's going to change the game for you. It's isometrics. It's the static holds that I already covered in another video. Yielding isometrics for joint stability and end range strength. Overcoming isometrics, right? Where we're doing a pin lunge and we're really pulling up for maximum force production without the joint compression. You can, I mean, isometrics are insane. If you're pushing as hard as you can, oh my goodness, the effect and stimulus that you can get on the nervous system without really loading it and frying it is incredible. Isometric work is what builds this dense, hard carved muscle the way bodybuilding training cannot. And when you're doing these isometrics, what we're actually doing is getting full motor unit recruitment for the given muscle that we're working. So when we're doing these isometrics, you can really get that mind-muscle connection to where you want it to go. And what this does is it's just lighting up these circuits and allowing these circuits to fire at a clip that they were not. And especially if we do isometrics before, you're going to be so tapped into your body and your nervous system, and it's going to be like a meditation through your muscles as you get into your concentric work. The fourth tool, like we talked about, is the plyometrics and ballistic loading. Do we need to go run a 40-yard dash? No. But are we going to get a little bit of acceleration work in? Yes. Are we going to work our hamstrings by the best hamstring method out there? Okay, you could say Nordics, but the best thing for your hamstrings is sprinting. We were meant to run. We were never meant to be stagnant and not be able to do these things. Imagine if you could just go sprint out of nowhere. How awesome would your life be if you could just go play with your kid and like really go play with him? Go do one-on-ones, basketball every single day. Imagine that. This is what's going to keep your nervous system fast and your tendons elastic and your body capable of producing force rapidly in real life. This is what makes you athletic, not just muscled. Even just one session per week with light plyometric work, with a dynamic warm-up, will keep you capable. You don't need to do all 4 of these every single session. Now, I'm going to be biased and say we didn't need to do some sort of an isometric every single day because there's just no downsides to it. It's not going to tax you out, and it's just so good for you. You want to build these all into a structured plan weekly, right? That's really going to give you these benefits. There are like heavy concentric work on your main strength days. You could do eccentric, isometric in the same days, plyometrics maybe even on a separate day, on a recovery day. Keep it short, explosive, get blood flow. And this is the result of a body that gets stronger and more athletic and more shredded, more ripped, builds muscle at the same time. Obviously, we're going to be looking to improve one parameter at a time. So maybe we'll start a hypertrophy phase, but then we'll get into a strength, and then we'll get into transitioning that into a speed. The reality is, though, with all of these, you can work on multiple parameters at once, especially if you're not looking to go to the NFL or the NBA. And that's the truth. You just want to feel good, look good, be at your best, and this is what it's going to take. And this is all without the joint cost of running pure bodybuilding volume. So, if you do nothing else from this video, here's the simplest thing that you can start with, okay? Layer in isometrics to start your workout. As a base, you can do a trap bar overcoming an isometric where you put it into the rack and you pull up against it before you do any sort of a squat. What you're going to do is literally before your workouts, and at some point, if you guys want, I'll show a program that I wrote for somebody to give you a full idea of what you would do. But I would do a trap bar overcoming pull into some broad jumps. Maybe a double broad jump. And you just do 3 sets of that, 2 to 3 sets of that. Do a 20-second hold into those jumps. Then what you could do on another day is a pin lunge hold into a Russian to switch. 5 each side. That's what that would look like. In terms of upper body, what you could do is you could literally grab some parallettes, go deep into a push-up, hold that as a push-up hold iso into some plyometric push-ups or into a med ball chest pass. Or maybe you don't even need to do something really expressing that isometric as you're in your upper body, okay? Then what you're going to do as well, you're going to make sure that one day a week you do some plyometrics. So just do like the warm-up, some quad pulls, some hamstring scoops, and then just do like some high knees. Do some, there's so many sprinting drills that we give our clients as well too. It's a little more advanced. It's tough to give you guys an exact thing, but do some high knees, run for 5 yards, and really the first time just go 70%. Next week go 80%, and just ramp up to going 100%. Be smart. Do not do top end speed unless you have a really periodized and scheduled progression up to it. That's going to be huge. Because imagine 12 months from now, guys, you're stronger than you've been in 5 years. Your joints feel better than they have in a decade. You're moving athletically, jumping, sprinting, playing, without thinking twice about your body holding up. You catch yourself in the mirror and you see dense, athletic-looking body that you used to have, and maybe even better than it was. Except now it holds and it doesn't feel like crap. And you don't need 3 recovery days from each training session. You don't dread leg day because you know your back is going to seize up or your knees are going to be aching the next day. You're not living in chronic low-grade pain. You're just stronger, leaner, more capable, and free. And that's what training intelligently produces. Not anti-muscle, better muscle, built on a body that lasts. Stop running an extreme sports training method on a busy man's body. Stop chasing pumps that fade and reps that don't matter while your tendons quietly, slowly grind down. Stop using these archaic methods that are built for the genetic outliers that left them broken. If you recognize yourself in anything that I've just described, and if your body has been breaking down way faster than it's been building up, and you're ready to train a different way, the best in the world, come find me on Instagram, DM me the word shred at Nolan Ulm. I'll walk you through exactly what the bulletproof shred looks like and build it around your specific body, your specific schedule, your goals, training cycles, concentric, eccentric, isometric, plyometrics, all together, all structured around what your body actually needs. And if you're really just feeling like you want to see if you're a good fit, because this is not for everybody. This is for the 1%, the people that want to be the best that they can be. You can book a call down below and see if it's a good fit, but only come if you're ready to seriously see if this is a good fit. This is not for everyone. This is built for people that just want to stop wrecking their bodies and start building one that lasts. So if that's you, let's talk. I appreciate you guys. Comment down below if you guys have any questions. I'm always here. I want to see you guys get the best body that you can get. With that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Make it happen. Out.